Hey everybody, how's it going? Past couple of months I picked up some vinyls and shit like that. So without further ado, let me begin. First vinyl is Freddie Jackson's Rock Me Tonight. Oh, shit. Rock Me Tonight, released in 1985 on what's the label? Damn, what's the fucking label? Oh, Capital, yeah. Um, yeah, man. Singles album is known for our two. It only came out with two singles: "Rock Me Tonight" and "You Are My Lady." Freddie Jackson definitely. If you guys grew up like in the mid '80s R&B, listen to R&B in the mid '80s, you would definitely heard his name before and shit like that. Very dope singer and shit like that. He low key looks like Dwayne Martin a little bit, but still. Yeah, if you like just if you definitely like mid '80s R&B or soul, you'll definitely pick this album up. Must have in your collection. Then we got Earth, Wind, and Fire's Head to the Sky, released in 1973. Singles albums known for are Evil and Keep Your Head to the Sky. Very dope album right here. Definitely one of my favorites from the group. A lot of people went on to say that this was like their beginning of their classic period and shit like that. So yeah, they're really expanding their sound because they went through like a lot of personnel changes, which I will get into if like one day when I review this album and shit, because it was like a lot of changes during this time that the album was released. What else about this album? Yeah, it must have in your collection. We got Mr. Otis Redding himself. With Dictionary of Soul, released in 1966 on Stax Records. Um, I'm so glad I found an Otis Redding, especially on vinyl and shit like that. But at the same time, though, I haven't really heard vinyl yet, and I'm kind of not. And okay, never mind. It's a mono sound vinyl. Okay, so that's what's up. That's what's up. But yeah, Otis Redding definitely. He was definitely at his peak when this album came out, and this is actually I think his last album before he died and shit like that. Only came out with two singles, Fa 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 Fa, Sad Song, and Try a Little Tenderness. Um, what is about this? What is about this album? Yeah, man, like very good album right here. I need to get my hands on a lot of his other albums like Pain in My Heart and definitely Otis Blue. I need to get my hands on that one. Like Otis Redding definitely, he's definitely my top five singers of all time and shit like that. So must have in your collection. Michael McDonald himself, if that's what it takes. I low key thought this was his self titled debut every time I saw this because it always tripped me out because it just says Michael McDonald right here. No fucking. But then it says the title of the album in the back and shit. I don't know, it just tripped me out for some odd reason. But yeah, singles albums known for. Well, in case you guys don't know who Michael McDonald is, he's definitely he worked with groups like Steely Dan. He worked with, of course, the Doobie Brothers, which he was probably best known for. Dope producer, songwriter. What else about Mike McDonald? Yeah, but he kind of gets like a lot of flack too, because like a lot of people kind of accused him of kind of ruining the Doobie Brothers sound and shit like that. I'm gonna save that conversation for another day. But other than that, album came out with 2 singles, and those singles are "I Keep Forgetting," which all these years I never realized that was actually a cover song, a Chuck Johnson cover song. By the way, I don't know, 'cause I heard the original cover song. I was like, damn, that sounds mad different. And then next single is "I Gotta Try," but I keep forgetting that was like that breakthrough single and shit. And all my Warren G heads should know about that song and shit like that. I don't even need to explain what sample it came from. But yeah, not only much to say about this album, early 80s classic rock, pop rock, um, with a touch of R&B and shit. That's the best way to describe this album. That's the best way to describe Michael McDonald too, but then we got Imagine Dragons, the latest album Evolve, released in 2017 on how do you say, Kid in a Corner on the Interscope. I've heard a couple of Imagine Dragons stuff and shit like that. They're a very dope group, but this was like a blind buy. I've really never really heard this album. Actually, I never even heard any album Imagine Dragons. So it only came out with 2 singles: "Believer," "Thunder," and "Whatever It Takes." So I'm gonna definitely listen to it, and I'm definitely gonna do a review on it. Yeah, this album, Shaka Rufus and featuring Shaka Khan, "Ask Rufus," released in 1977 on ABC. Um, I've already mentioned Shaka Khan. I had her first album, her first solo album on vinyl. Do I have any other Rufus albums? No, actually, nah. This one and another one are my only Rufus albums. Okay. The singles albums known for are "At Midnight," "My Love Will Lift You Up." What else? What else? What else? "Hollywood" and "Everlasting Love." Then on the way, and then like that song. This album kind of there's a lot of background tension when it comes to this album. For one, Shaka Khan's popularity was rising and shit like that, and there was like a lot of like inner conflict between her and the drummer Andre Fisher and shit like that. And so while I was reviewing looking at this album, um, there was like a fight. I've read about a fight that happened between her husband at the time and Fisher, and it just got into an ugly situation. And Shaka kind of got into the fight, and basically, she was pregnant at the time too. And so after the fight, Fisher left the group and shit like that. And another weird thing too, the dude Andre Fisher was married to Natalie Cole. Rest in peace, Natalie Cole. Um, and stuff like that. Later on, and a lot of people have said that Shaka and Natalie's relationship, because they were kind of cool too, that they kind of like fell through and shit. So yeah, that's what I have to say about this album. But back to the album. Very dope album. It's a classic album if you ask me. Um, Loves the funky and the soul with this album. Shaka Khan was definitely at her prime, like definitely with this at this period, like late 70s to maybe I mean, don't get me wrong, she's still dope, but I mean, like, I would say like my favorite years maybe would be 74, 75, maybe to mid to late 80s and shit like that. But Shaka Khan, definitely one of the greatest female vocalists of all time. Ask Rufus, must have in your collection. And then this album, My favorite album from them, in my opinion, Master Jam, released on MCA Records. Yeah, man, what can I say about this album? It's funky, it's jazzy. Quincy Jones produced this album. Anytime Quincy and Shaka gets together, good things always happen and shit, you know. And around this time, this is when Shaka actually came back to Rufus because she still wanted to be part of the group and have a solo career at the same time. But with her star power growing and growing, it kind of became hard and shit, you know. So yeah, but other than that, singles I'm known for are "Do You Love What You Feel," "Any Love," and "I'm Dancing for Your Love." A lot of love in here. Wow. Um, "Do You Love What You Feel?" I love, love, love that song. Do you know? And then of course, they have a cover of the Quincy Jones song "Body Heat." And in case you guys don't know that song "Body Heat," all my Mobb Deep heads should know about that song and shit. So must have in your collection. If you're a fan of Michael Jackson's "Off the Wall" album, but with this is basically like the same. Like you'll definitely love this album, but don't expect like off the wall the production. Like you're gonna expect some of it here, but it's with a twist. So Rage Against the Machine's debut album, that's self-titled, released in 1992. Well, this is actually the 20th anniversary of the album, because you can like the XX, you know, Roman numerals and shit. For those you don't know, Rage Against the Machine is definitely a rock group, very political and shit like that, and very political, you know, very controversial at the same time. And yeah, one of my favorite Rage Against the Machine albums of all time. Um, yeah, like singles I was known for are "Killing in the Name," "Bullet in the Head." Huh, that beat alone is just so dope. Like, Bomb Track and Freedom. Like, definitely one of my favorite albums from them. Like, I can't even pick a favorite album from Rage Against the Machine because I like all of their albums equally and shit. Even their Renegades album that came out, the cover album, I do love that one, but must have in your collection and shit. So I also feel like Zach De La Roca is definitely one of the most underrated MCs and shit like that when it comes to hip hop. But this album, this is Lionel Richie's debut solo album, self-titled, released in 1982 on Motown. How could I forget that? Yeah, this is when he was still in the Commodores when this album was released and shit like that. So singles I was known for are "Truly," "You Are," and "My Love." Um, no, I kind of consider this one of his best albums and shit like that. You know, I like when that comes to Lionel. I like his first two solo albums, this one and "Can't Slow Down." Um, but you know, a lot of people kind of say that he is gonna get too over sentimental when it comes to his love songs, but it's how he is and shit like that. So that's just his style and stuff like that. I mean, people don't get mad at Kenny Rogers for doing that, or even people don't get at Kenny Rogers and shit like that. But yeah, very good album right here. If you love that early '80s R&B, which I love and shit like that, this is definitely a must-have in your collection. Yeah. This album, the Stylistics debut safe self-titled album, released in 1973 on what's the label? AVCO. Definitely a dope album right here. Singles I was known for are "You're a Big Girl Now," "Stop, Look, Listen to Your Heart," "You Are Everything," "Bet You by Golly Wow." I mean, come on, and "People Make the World Go Round." Come on, like really. And Tom Bell was producing this whole album too. Like, Like, this is definitely a landmark album when it comes to Philly soul and shit. And one thing I've always loved about Tom Bell's production was just how lushful and how upscale his shit was. Like, he put strings and shit, and it was like a good contrast to like the Gamble and Huff sound. Because when you listen to like a Gamble and Huff production, it's like more like funky. It does have this funky, had that groove to it and shit like that. Where his production was like more of that upscale kind of production. So it's polished and shit. So yeah, must have in your collection. Stylistics. Then we got Heat Wave with Too Hot to Handle, released in 1977. Heat Wave, in case you guys don't know, they're like an R&B funk group from from England and shit like that. And so this was the first album. Very good album right here. Anytime you think of like late 70s, funk, disco, this is a perfect album to think about. Like, ain't no half stepping, and yes, of course, Big Daddy Kane, use that sample and shit. No, that's a no brainer right there. Super Soul Sister, Boogie Nights. I love the intro to that song. Too Hot to Handle. With the B-side, Slip Your Disc Into This. And of course, how could I forget Always and Forever? Like, whenever you listen to this album, it will take you back to the 70s, Always and Forever, definitely one of the greatest love songs of all time. And yes, this was a group where Rod Temperton was in. In case you guys don't know who Rod Temperton is, I mentioned him a lot of times, like in my Michael Jackson reviews, most definitely Off the Wall and Thriller. He worked a lot with him and shit, so must have in your collection and shit. And this last album, I'm gonna probably get some flack for this. I might get some raised eyebrows, but I'm going to explain to you why I picked this album up and shit. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Come on now. Sorry about that. This album. Okay, I know what you guys are thinking. Maroon 5 really, dude? Like, I like their early shit before they got way too commercial. And many people did not know this. They were like very funky and shit like that. They were like, at one point they were very funky and shit, and they were very soulful. Like, this was before that moves like Jagger bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, Songs About Jane, released in 2002 on Octone under J. Singles albums known for are Harder to Breathe, This Love, She Will Be Loved, Sunday Morning, and Must Get Out. It's kind of crazy because although this album was released like in 2002, it didn't really get popular until like when this Love was like, that was like the breakthrough single and shit like that, And that song was like very big. That song was very big and shit like that. And like, it was like in commercials and everything like that. And that's kind of crazy too, because like, whenever like an album, I mean, you could say that this album kind of like has like a cult following towards it. Oh, damn, I forgot to mention. The reason why it got like a cult following after years, because it was re-released a year after it was released and shit like that. And so that's when people really start picking up on Maroon 5. I was like, oh, okay, okay. So yeah, very actually not a bad album. You know, I like this album a lot because they were very mature. Cause I feel like their later stuff, I don't know. It's just like they relied too much on Adam Levine's. You know, they just like too much on Adam Levine's appeal and shit like that. Like it just got to a point where it was just like too pop. They were like too poppy and shit. But I mean, I still listen to their first two albums sometimes and shit like that. You know, certain songs from there. But I'm not like a huge Maroon 5 fan. But I just picked this album up, you know, just to pick it up. And I am out. Peace.